before you scroll. If you've been asking God why life keeps getting harder, if you've been praying, waiting, believing, yet nothing seems to be changing, don't leave this video. Because what if the struggle you're fighting is not proof God has abandoned you, but evidence He is preparing you for something greater? Stay until sign number 7. It may explain everything you've been going through. Sign 1. The pressure is becoming intense. Lately, it feels like life has been squeezing you from every direction. Financial pressure, emotional pressure, spiritual pressure. You keep asking, why now? Joseph experienced this. Before God raised him to the palace, He allowed him to experience betrayal, slavery, and prison. The pressure wasn't destroying Joseph, it was preparing him. Isaiah 48:10 says, I have refined you in the furnace of affliction. Gold is purified by fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Perhaps God is doing the same with you. And the next sign is something many people completely misunderstand. Sign 2. Doors keep closing. You've watched opportunities disappear, relationships end, plans fall apart. The door you prayed for never opened, and secretly you've wondered if God forgot about you. But what if those closed doors are actually protection? David was anointed king, yet instead of receiving a throne, he found himself hiding in caves. God was preparing a king before revealing a kingdom. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and He will direct your paths. Sometimes God closes a door because He sees what is waiting behind it, and what comes next may be the clearest sign of all. Sign 3. You are becoming hungrier for God. You find yourself praying more. Worship moves you to tears. A Bible verse suddenly feels personal. You crave God's presence in ways you never did before. That isn't coincidence, that is preparation. Before God changes your circumstances, He often changes your heart. Matthew 5:6 says, Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. God is increasing your spiritual appetite because He is preparing you for greater responsibility. But this next sign is where many believers become discouraged. Sign 4. You feel like you are waiting forever. The answer hasn't come, the breakthrough hasn't happened, the miracle hasn't arrived, yet somehow God keeps telling you to wait. Abraham waited decades for God's promise. Hannah waited years for Samuel. David waited years for the throne. Jesus waited 30 years before beginning His ministry. Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. Psalm 27:14 says, Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, because what God is building often takes longer than what man can see. And now we come to a sign that many people overlook. Sign 5. God is separating you. People drift away. Certain friendships suddenly end. Places that once felt comfortable no longer do. You feel isolated, misunderstood, even lonely. But God often separates before He elevates. Before Moses led a nation, he spent years alone in the wilderness. Before Paul changed the world, he spent years being prepared. 2 Corinthians 6:17 says, Come out from among them and be separate. Sometimes God removes people from your life because they cannot go where He is taking you, and the next sign may be happening to you right now. Sign 6. God keeps confirming the same message. You hear the same Bible verse repeatedly. A sermon answers a question you never asked out loud. A devotional speaks directly to your situation. A friend says exactly what you needed to hear. Again and again and again. That's not luck, that's God's voice. John 10:27 says, My sheep hear my voice. God knows the journey is difficult. That's why he keeps sending reminders that he is still with you. But sign number 7 is the most powerful of them all. Sign 7. You still haven't given up after everything you've been through. You're still here. You cried. You questioned. You doubted. You felt exhausted. You considered quitting. But somehow, you still pray. You still worship. You still believe. Why? Because God is sustaining what he intends to use. The enemy attacked your peace, your finances, your confidence, your future. Yet your faith survived. That is not normal human strength. That is God's hand upon your life. Philippians 1:6 says, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion." The reason you haven't given up is because God hasn't given up on you. Your current season is not your final chapter. The pressure has a purpose. The waiting has a purpose. The closed doors have a purpose. The loneliness has a purpose. God is preparing you for something greater than you can currently imagine. So if this message spoke to your heart, type "greater" in the comments as a declaration of faith and subscribe for more biblical encouragement, because the breakthrough you've been praying for may be much closer than you think.